because I was just like really wanted to meet him. So that's what happens when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
too desperate to go out with someone. Um, so he
Stupid
came over
mistakes.
and yeah, so you're already drunk on that feeling of meeting someone new and you're drunk off their charm. And I just drank way too much wine. So I was also drunk on that and saying stupid, silly things. And I think that kind of turned him off. And then things quickly escalated and he tried taking me straight to bed. And I was like, no, this ain't happening. Um, and then he quickly turned cold afterwards, after that first date. And I think it's important to think about these settings for your dates, where first of all, you don't want to have it in your house, because again, that can escalate very quickly to the bedroom. And I also think, keep your space separate for a while, get to know him, and don't you maybe you also tend to feel too cozy at home, so then you get too comfortable with them. You just want to take it easy. And over here, I don't know what it's like in France, or I know that different places in the world have different first date um
Rules
standards,
and yeah.
like, yeah, and places to go. Over here it's usually going to like a pub for a drink, and which is all fine and good if you're going to a relaxed place and not drinking too much. But like, let's say for my first date with Zev, I spoke about this before. He took me to the local park. Yes, he brought, I think it was like Summersby, so it was like apple cider. There's nothing too harmful. It was very quiet. It was calm. We can actually have a conversation without all the loud noise around us. And then, the next time I see him, it's not like, oh my God, looked so completely different when I was drunk, you know? So it's a matter of like just finding the right setting for you. I'm also we're actually both not that kind of people that love going out to parties and loud things and just all the too much hard effort to just for a date. I think it's just I came with like jeans and a Levi's sweatshirt, and I was like, I'm just bringing myself, and we just like sat calmly. You have to find something that's right for you, that like reflects who you are as a person, so they also don't get the wrong impression of you. Oh, this is a person that loves going out to clubs, or this is a person that loves going out to 5 Michelin restaurant stars, whatever. Wow, I just screwed that up, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I, also don't recommend having somebody over for at your place for a first date, but mistakes and things. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing of kissing on the first date and sleeping with somebody on the first date and everything, I don't, to each their own. If you wanna, if you wanna put out on the first date and do things on the first date, then it's fine. But please make sure that it's coming from you and not coming from loneliness and not coming from pressure on the other side. And I'm not talking about forced pressure of things like that. I'm talking about that feeling that a lot of people get of, if I don't sleep with this person or if I don't kiss this person, they're going to lose interest.
Then they should lose it, then they're not meant for you anyway.
And I completely agree with that. And it's you want to, and I've done that many times of
Haven't we
sleeping
all?
with somebody, and it's just and I don't regret it at all, because if you
You
want
learn
to
from it.
I learned from it. And yes, you want to honor your body and respect your body and things like that, and not give yourself away too easily. But it's also it's not
Sometimes you just want to give in to your urges,
exactly,
and that's
you
it. You
want
don't
to
want to think too
let's not
much and whatever.
exactly,
Yeah,
you don't
I mean,
want
we're
to
human.
demonize everything. Exactly, you're human and you make mistakes, and so you want to be careful, but you're not too careful. And all this to say that if you're going to be giving into these urges, you want to make sure that you're doing it for you, and you're not hoping or expecting anything from it. And this goes for guys and girls, because a lot of
Mhm.
women will sleep on the first date and kind of say, oh yeah, but I'm a free spirit, and this is how I am, and actually it's not how they are. But a lot of men will also kind of like kiss on the first date because they feel that the woman is expecting it, and that's their move to make. And I talk to these men and say, but give yourself a chance, like take it off, they asked me, should I kiss her at the end of the first date if it goes well? I was like, well, what do you mean if it goes well? And they go in this whole thing. It's like, well, I'm going to tell you, you just don't kiss her on the first date. You just take that stupid question out of your head. You just decide right
Mm-hmm.
now you're not going to kiss her. She's definitely not going to kiss you because it's just not how most women will behave. And you take that pressure off and you just, get to know her. Don't ask yourself, am I going to kiss her? Ask yourself, do I like her? And how can I seduce her? That is the only thing you need to be worrying about. And so you're right, you don't want to be going at his place or at your place or at their place or whatever, because I mean, me personally, if I had somebody over at my place, I'd be so worried about, is this tidied up? Is this
Mm-hmm.
clean? Is that put away? Or is anything lying around? And I'd just be so aware of my, surrounding.
Yeah. It's also very personal, you're letting someone into your space and letting them see your pictures, your decorations, your all the things. Like, a lot of times our apartments are a reflection of us, or our rooms, or whatever it is.
Mm,
There's small pieces of you woven into the different things. So like, and on the one hand, I'm not a huge believer on sticking to rules on the first day of don't talk about this and don't talk about that and avoid this, avoid that, and whatever it is. I think if it comes up, it comes up, and I think you should just let yourself be natural and just talk about whatever feels right in the moment. But that being said, I think you do need to be cautious to not throw everything all at once at a person, because that can just end up chasing them away. And you want to ease someone into getting to know you. Like, there's certain things that I think that you need to get out right away, so you don't waste each other's time and just talk about it, boom boom pow, on the first date. But there's certain things, like like issues that you have, or I don't know, like a trauma, or like a
mm.
job thing, or whatever, like these personal issues that you feel like you need to talk about, but not right away, because you don't want to, I hate to say this, you don't want to scare them away. And when you just meet someone, it's way too much, way too soon, and they can't handle it. Whereas if you give them time to get to know you better and to understand for themselves who you are, when you do open up about these certain things, then they know you better, and they know how to receive the information, they know how to respond better, and they're less worried about it because they know you already, and they know all the good things about you. And there's there's just, it works out better that way.
I would build on that by saying that, so yes, it's, it talks about what feels natural. Um, things like I'm divorced with 3 kids need to come up in the conversation fairly
Mm-hmm.
quickly. But what I would just
Or I
add
don't
to
want
the,
kids.
or I don't want kids, exactly, that I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that I don't want kids needs to come up very, very quickly. Um, but things about, work and personal things, I think are okay to talk about, might even be good to talk about. It's just the delivery that needs to be, you
Mm-hmm.
need to be careful about the delivery, because there's a difference between, oh yeah, it was a tough week at work this week, and I won't go into too much detail, but basically this is going on, and it's just, it's frustrating and it's on my mind, but I'm here with you and I want to have a good time tonight, and we can talk about work stuff another time. And you want to let the person see that you're a real person and you've got flaws and weaknesses. That's a different delivery to, oh my god, this happened and this happened and this is going on and this is going on and blah 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 and this and
Yeah.
that, this and that and this and that. you know Saying that if if you've got somebody who's ill or recently deceased in your family and it's still on your mind, a way that you want to deliver that is, well, it's a tough week at home these days, but I'm happy to be here. But it's just, there's
Yeah.
stuff going on at home, and you know this is going on, but I just want to, have a good time with you and think about something else. That is different to, oh my god, my grandfather's ill and this is happening and blah blah blah, and I'm so worried about him, and start crying and things like that. You just want to, you know,
Yeah.
let the person in, but there are so many other nice things to talk about. Another example is, I had a client who was 28 and had never been in a relationship, and he was like, what do I say if they ask me, and how should I bring it up, and what it's like, you don't need to talk about it. Like, if they ask you about your emotional history, you can say, there's so much more interesting things to talk about than my emotional history. We'll get there, but please, let's talk about this and
Mm-hmm.
this and this. And you want to, if you basically, he wasn't comfortable talking about it. So, just don't talk about it, think of something else.
Yeah.
And there are
And if they
so many
can't
things.
accept that, then that's their problem. And it's sort of, you shouldn't be with someone who can't accept the fact that you're not
Yeah.
ready to talk about a specific issue or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That one guy once texted me and said, "What do I do?" She didn't want to talk to me because she found out I was, Capricorn and she was Libra, and like we don't match. And like, what do I say to the in these situations? And I was like, "Well, what do you mean? What do you say?" And he's like, "Well, how can I avoid this type of thing?" I was like, do you, think about this. Do you want to be with somebody who gives a lot of importance to this type of thing? No judgment, to each their own. But is that
Mhm.
something you're interested in? And he's like, well, no. It's like, well, then
There you
good
have it.
riddance, good riddance. And but I appreciate that it's so hard to have this type of thought process.
Hmm.
It's just, it's very hard to, when you're feeling lonely and you want to make it work, but you know you want to always, always, always remember, just because you don't want to avoid saying something, you want to make sure that you feel the vibe going as well.
Yeah. And also what you just said triggered another thought in me, where you want to, because we're talking a lot about, you have to make compromises in every relationship that you have, and there's no such thing as a perfect relationship.
Mm.
But on the other hand, you also don't want to over compromise just so you're in a relationship. And because again, what you said is like, loneliness does make us do silly things and makes us just jump into all of the wrong
Mm.
relationships just for the sake of not being alone. And it's like, hi, so he pees on the toilet seat, that's fine, I can clean it up afterwards. Or he leaves dishes in the sink, that's fine, I can wash it up at the end of the day. Or he stays out way too late without letting me know when he's going to come back, whatever, I can deal with that. You're making excuses for their behavior, and you're putting up with things that are just don't sit well with you or go against the type of lifestyle that you want to live or your core values, and you two just don't align, and there's too much um
Friction.
clashes,
Yeah.
friction, clashing, whatever you want to call it. Then it's also important to say, I know you don't want to be on your own. I know it's very hard to find people these days, but it's not going to do you any good to be with this kind of person, with the wrong person, when you have to make too many compromises, especially if they're not making any at all, you know? So I think it's important to 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 not be afraid to let go of someone who isn't right for
Yeah.
you, which is again why it's so important to be so comfortable with yourself and to enjoy your single life as much as you can. Because when you do have a great life independently, and you do love your own company, and you do have a bunch of friends and family that you can depend on, and you can depend on yourself, then you're not as afraid to walk out on someone who's not good for you. You're not as afraid to show them the door and say good riddance and goodbye, because you know that you're good. You know that you have a good, solid life. You have a good, solid relationship with yourself and with the people around you, and you have a good support system, and your life won't crumble because of one breakup. Your life is solid enough and you are strong enough that one person walking out of your life, no matter who it is, won't cause your whole world to spin off its arches and go all haywire, whatever it is. So,
Yeah. I think what you said of like, don't be afraid to let go of somebody who's not right for you. I think that's a good indicator. Like, you don't want to give up too easily, but I think if you're feeling some sort of way about it, if there's some slight discomfort, but you should push yourself, well, not push yourself, but if there is some slight discomfort, still don't be afraid. And I think that's kind of the happy middle. Like, if you're feeling terrified about it, then you want to reassess. Like today,
mhm.
I'm nowhere near thinking about leaving JT, but like I'm terrified of the thought. Like we talked about it so this week was a rough week, and I was like, the only thing that could have been worse if JT, it was, if JT left or something, and it was,
Of
and it's a terrifying, terrifying feeling. It's like,
course it
then
is.
you want to
Yeah.
address that. But if it's, if it's just, I'm afraid of it and I don't want to be alone, then, you want to maybe kind of tip it over and see if you can find somebody who suits you best without
Yeah, I think mhm.
without, being too picky. It's a, complicated.
Yeah, it's finding the right balance for you. And again, I'm going to go back to this, is that when you know yourself really well, then you know better what you want, you know better what you're looking for. You waste your time less because you can recognize much quicker what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not.
Mm,
And you also trust yourself more. So for me, with Zev, yes, the first couple of dates I was like, and even more than that, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted and what I was feeling. But I trusted myself so much and my instincts that I just couldn't ignore that a part of me just wanted to be around him. My body, my being just trusted him instinctively. And I think that can only happen A, with the right person, but B, also when you're very in tune with yourself and that you trust yourself to make the right decisions, and when you don't have any of those toxic habits of just going for people who are wrong for you,
mm,
and that you're at the place where you are comfortable enough with yourself and your life that you don't need to settle, and you found that right balance between being picky and being cautious with the person that you're going to give your time and attention to, and also not settling for just anyone who comes into your life just for the sake of it, certain things that you can live with, there's certain things that you can't, and you just want to get to know the person and give yourself time to understand who this is. And
mm.
it really is impossible to know someone on a first date, and sometimes people are nervous, there's lots of different circumstances, you never know. And if and when you know yourself, you know what you want, then you get sense of this person. They have not made a good first impression on the first day, but there's something in me that wants to get to know him again, to meet him again.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think with the thing about standards and being picky, it's a very, a cliche, but don't ever lower your standards. And there's a difference between having standards and being picky. And it's just, think about what you like and dislike about someone, and are you happy for somebody else judging you on the same thing? Like, I know some women is like, oh, he needs to earn so such and such money, and he needs to look like this, and blah blah blah. Like, would you be happy if he judged you on these things about you? So what do you mean? I was like, well, I mean, you want him to earn six figures and do this. Are you happy for him to judge you on what you're doing and how you're working and things? And she's like, well, no. And it's like, well, I mean, what makes it okay for you to judge him on that basis? And well, I'm good looking. I was like, well, I mean, high
It's not
achieving
everything, babe.
men, yeah, exactly. I mean, some high achieving men just want a bimbo, but a lot of high achieving men want
Not
women
today.
that
I
they
feel like
can, yeah,
these days people want someone on their level,
yeah,
if not
to
more.
talk with. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have more substance over there. And it's very hard to create something with someone who's dependent on only on one dimension of themselves. And there's so much more to relationship than just that. And you cannot demand something from someone else if you're not willing to give from yourself as well.
Yeah.
And a relationship is a give and take. And sometimes, like, Zev and I talk about this all the time. Like, we're planning a trip to Thailand, and so we're talking about like what kind of trip we want, and we're just like talking about this also about the trip, but also in general. Like, when you're with someone, you can't agree on 100% of the things. You'll no matter how in sync you are, you'll never enjoy everything that the other person enjoys. And it's a matter of saying, I don't like this, but you want to do it, so I'll just do it with you, and then they'll do something else with you that they don't necessarily want to do. Or giving them the space to, have a fear of the ocean. I have no desire to dive, but Zev does. So you can go ahead and dive and do your thing, and I'll just stay back and do my thing, and that's okay. It's just a matter of giving each other space. And I'm not sure exactly how I got here, what my point was, but I think it's just, again, a matter of giving from yourself to another
Yeah.
person and doing things with another person that you not don't necessarily want, as long as you're not lowering your standards and not giving up your core values, and expecting, and then it's okay to expect that in return from them.
Yep.
Yep.
So what do you guys think about
Yeah.
standards and give and take, and some first, we did do's and don'ts on first dates. Like, what rules do you impose on yourself on a first date, and what do you expect of somebody
Yeah.
else, and what do you find ridiculous?
Yeah. Tell us a bit about your first dates as well. Like, give us some stories.
Yay, and we may
Anyway,
react to them.
we should.
And
We should.
did you see that Charlotte Dobre created Am I the
Oh, she
A-hole
did a
thread?
Reddit
Yeah,
thingy. Yeah.
I need to go on it, because
Yeah, we should
that's
check it
quality
out.
stuff.
I'll probably, yeah. We love
So
Charlotte
follow us.
Dobre over here.
Love Charlotte Dobre over here. Shout out to her.
Yeah. Shout
Um,
out.
imagine one day we collab with her. Just
Wouldn't that be amazing?
that would be
Let's
amazing.
dream big.
Let's dream big. Let's manifest it. I'm just gonna go as we talk, and we may not know the answer before the end, but just I want to see how many followers she's got on YouTube. I'm sure it's a
A
stupid
lot.
amount.
Like a
Charlotte
million something.
Dobre. She is, I think, yeah, a million. Oh Jesus, 1.83 million.
Yeah.
There,
In Hebrew
that's
we say Bekarov etzlenu, which basically means like by soon by us kind of thing. Like, hopefully
all
soon
right.
now will
See,
be
all
the
right,
same
I
for,
see.
like,
Well
yeah,
then, all for
yeah.
us. And follow us on all the social media platforms, Pop Culture Cupid, and
Yes.
speak to you soon.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.